Hi, my name is Daniel Warren Hill with Alchemical Records. I am here today with multiple Whammy award-winning artist Jarreau Williams. How you doing today, Jarreau?
I'm good, Daniel. It's always good to see you, man. Thanks for
Thanks,
having me.
thanks for making the time. I'm really excited to see you always. Um, we get a chance to talk about some new Whammy wins. You walked away from the 2021 Whammies with three Whammies, if I remember correctly.
Yep, that's
Um,
correct. Yep.
And then somewhere between then and this year's 2022 Webbies, you had collaborated with Stephanie Matthias and had put together a song called "Starting Over," and it received the award for Best Pop Song in the 2022 Whammies. Tell us a little bit about the song and your collaboration.
Yeah, so I mean, this was it was amazing in so many ways. Kind of backtracking, this was during the pandemic, when the idea for starting over came about. In the couple weeks prior to that, I had been on this kick during the pandemic where I really wanted to start writing for other people. And it could just be just something where I would set up a call with someone and just ask them about their day. And then from that, I would just kind of write some things down and some lyrics would come to mind. And then by the time we finished talking to each other, we'd have some song lyrics. And, some of those things got recorded and others are still a work in progress. But Stephanie had gone through a miscarriage. And, for any expecting mother, that is, about as crushing and as traumatic as it gets. And I've had family members who have gone through a similar thing. So to kind of see her strength through it and her honesty about the whole process, going on Instagram and talking with therapists and just kind of outlining what that journey was like for her, it just inspired me to want to write some lyrics about it. And she had no idea that I was doing this. And so I wrote kind of the starter, or like the hook that you hear, and I wrote my own verse because it inspired me to kind of talk about some of my own challenges. I sent it to her, and it was just a complete surprise, and she loved it. And then that began this 10-month journey we were on of writing and producing and recording, and then getting together with Devin Spear at XL Recording to kind of put the bow on what we had started. And so we also worked with Jeffrey Perkins, J Perk Productions, to really bring the image of what we were conveying to life. And when we submitted it for the Whammies, we were just kind of like, let's just see what happens, because it's not that conventional pop song. It's one that talks about a very serious thing. And the pop category in DC is packed, and rightfully so. There's so many talented artists in that genre. So to come away with a win for that, for something that was a tragedy and a triumph, if you will, it is honestly something that I'll take with me for the days ahead.
I've asked other Whammy Award winners this year, like what they felt about the track that maybe stood out from obviously like full categories of great local music. It sounds like that this kind of emotive and extremely personal nature, interwoven, if you will, with the pop genre became one of the things that may have stood out for judges and fans of this particular track.
Yeah, I think anytime an artist can be very vulnerable about something that is close to them, I think people are going to gravitate to that. And it even in the fun songs too, there's an energy for everybody depending on what you do with the song and kind of how it gets to somebody at a current point in life that they're in. And I think the special thing about starting over was that it unlocked the door to a group, a community that we had, at least I had no knowledge about. I knew that there were people that had not only lost babies, but also, were in that process of trying again. and ended up, having children in the end. So having a rainbow baby in addition to an angel baby, and not knowing what those things meant before this process, Stephanie was, very instrumental in helping me with that, and guiding me through that process. And we were able to connect with pregnancy after loss support. So I think that again was like another thing where I was like, wow, here's a community of people that could really relate to this song that we're putting out. And they have over 40,000 subscribers. And, it wasn't just about the numbers, it was just this has the opportunity to expand beyond our immediate reach. And again, it helps somebody get through an experience, an ordeal that I could never fathom, I could never experience, but just know that I'm here to support that person.
That's amazing. It's a great story. I look forward to being able to connect with Stephanie and be able to dig in with her as well.
Yeah, and I mean, just I'm sure she'll have a little Ezra there with her, maybe, because that's that's the end. That's if you watch the music video, you see Ezra in the end of it, and it really it kind of it brought tears to my eyes, honestly. Like when I saw all the photos and the videos that she had compiled, knowing where we started. And she was pregnant during the whole process when we were writing and when we were composing the song. So it really brought everything full circle. And her story is amazing.
Well, you also have new music yourself being released this year. You've released a couple of singles already, and you have a new EP coming out June 3rd called All the Cards. Do you
Yes.
mind sharing a little bit with us about that?
Yeah, I'm so excited about this music. And even just from the response that I've gotten over the first couple of singles, people are saying to me that this is the best music that I've ever done. And I do believe that. I truly do. And I feel like you always feel that way when you do your next record. Like your next record is always better than the last in some kind of way, even if it doesn't carry the same weight or go as far, you're always learning something along the way. So All the Cards is really a project that explored consent and courtship, and really just kind of taking the next step forward into becoming the person you've always wanted to be. And there's a few songs on there that talk about that. It's a 6-track EP, and it's like 20 minutes. It's very short, but yet to the point. And it's very like pop driven, but it still has that R&B soul feel that a lot of people connect me to. With the falsetto and the harmonies on some songs and things like that. But I really just wanted to touch on what it's like being a man, but also just being a human in today's society. There's a lot of things that we have to change about ourselves, and be accountable and be receptive to that. And as far as courtship was concerned, the main single, All the Cards, is really just saying, hey, I see you over there in your space, being the best you can possibly be, being totally great with you, and I just want to be a part of that if you'll let me in. And I think that was the main takeaway from that. So I'm really excited for people to hear the remaining songs that are left. I've got Boundaries that is out now. Seasons is coming out next. That's going to be the last single before the EP drops. And then I've got some other stuff I'm working on in the meantime. So we're just going to keep the train rolling. But I'm really loving this music that I'm putting out.
Congratulations on the new music. We're looking forward to covering the release of the EP in June. And of course, maybe revisiting another conversation next year about a couple more Whammy wins from the EP.
That would be amazing. I hope so. But it's always a competitive city, and I love that about our region. Sometimes I feel like we don't get enough credit in the DMV for all the music and the great artists that come out of here, and are constantly making music. It's just so great. So yeah, we'll keep our fingers crossed for next year. My main focus right now is just continually putting out the music and hoping that people hear it. So thank you to Alchemical, another Whammy winner, also, for having this platform and allowing artists to be seen, especially in our area, in the DMV. So thanks a lot, Dan. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Drew.